I am extremely honored to receive this award. I view it as the capstone of my professional career. I am a product of public education. The Los Angeles Unified School District, when it was one of the best, not one of the worst urban school districts in the United States. The University of California, Berkeley, and the University of Massachusetts. The first recipient of this award, the late John Kay, and this year's other recipient, Lee Rihanan, are very hard acts to follow, and I am humbled by being among them. However, John Kay and I do have one thing in common. We both received degrees from one of the great public universities in the world, the University of California, Berkeley. What other university has two elements named after it or more Nobel laureates? The neoliberal attack on public education began at Berkeley when I was there and Ronald Reagan was governor of California. State support of Berkeley's total budget was 64% in 1966 when I entered Berkeley, 27% in 2006, and 14% in 2017. Similar declines occurred throughout the United States and the UK. The continued defunding of public education by President Reagan, Margaret Thatcher, and their successors in the US and UK has led to the current state of my own LA Unified School District, which is now considering closing all elementary school libraries. I learned to love books in my elementary school library. But free public education is the cornerstone of a stable, democratic, and free society. Historically, educational institutions, as opposed to individual teachers, have been like religious institutions, nonprofit. In most Western countries, education has almost always been a function of religious institutions, governments, or private charitable foundations. When religious institutions become for-profit, they usually get into trouble. It is the same with education. For-profit education, both in for-profit institutions and other for-profit educational enterprises, can be collectively defined as edubusiness. The main problem with edubusiness is that the most important products of education, such as critical thinking and analysis, are both the least tangible and the least profitable. They are expensive both in staffing and in assessment. Edubusiness wants to McDonaldize education, make it cheap to produce and distribute, highly profitable, and with little nutritive value. It wants, like Dickens' Gradgrind, to focus on relatively unimportant facts and rules that can literally be mechanically talked and mechanically counted. Edubusiness values psychometricians over practitioners, testers over teachers, reliability over validity. It argues that a relatively unreliable measure cannot be valid, yet it argues for reliable measures that ignore the most important elements of education, thereby privileging minor surface characteristics. It wants to emphasize spelling, for example, in a century when there will be very few instances of today's students writing in media that do not contain spell checkers. Edubusiness, however, wants to all but ignore meaning at a time when a critical understanding of meaning, that is, critical thinking, is desperately needed in political and other immensely important public conversations. I am grateful to have been part of the successful effort to stop one manifestation of edubusiness, robo-marking in Australia, and to have contributed to an effort to reimagine NAPLAN as a tool for learning rather than being a mechanical moneymaker. My collaboration with the New South Wales Teachers Federation has been one of my most rewarding professional associations. You are simultaneously an industrial union that protects the interests of your members as workers and a professional association sincerely committed to improving teaching and learning. I wish such organizations existed in the United States. Thank you so much for what has been one of the most satisfying professional experiences of my life. Thank you, mates.